Hey, happy Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. It is John Robinson here for another Tuesday Talks, and I'm so glad that you're here with us. And we're going to allow everybody a few minutes to jump on. So if you're here and you're getting on right now, help me out by letting me know that you can hear me. Let's find out where you're from. Give us your name. I know some of you guys have different screen names than your real name. So if you feel comfortable with it, you can let us know your real name, where you're from, and where you're watching from is important because it kind of helps us know, like, if there's something we can help you with in your particular market. Then we'd love to be able to kind of, just jump in and help out. So sometimes people ask questions on here, which is totally fine. And by the way, you're welcome to ask questions. This is a little bit of a Q&A time. If you're here live, then you can ask your questions. If we get to it, if we have time, we'll post your question up on the screen and try to get those questions answered. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to jump on here. I'm going to make sure that I've got my the YouTube side that we're up and running, giving everybody a chance to jump on. And once again, it's Tuesday Talks. My name is John Robinson. And I'm over here in our beautiful studio space that we're utilizing right now for these conversations. Hey, there's Jess. Good to see you, Jess. Jess is watching from the Portland area, or are you in Salem today, Jess? Let us know where you're watching from today. We'll look over real quickly and check on the YouTube channel. Make sure, by the way, let us know if you're watching from Facebook or from YouTube. Jess says he's watching from the Salem area, and I'm assuming that you might be watching on Facebook, but let us know, Jess. Let me just look real quickly, make sure that we're up and running on the live broadcast for the YouTube side. Give me 1 second here, guys. All right, let's see here. I'll turn that down so we're not getting an echo. All right, so Jess is watching from Facebook. A couple other folks are jumping on here on the YouTube side, so I'll give them a chance. By the way, if you guys make a comment on YouTube, that's fine. I have to kind of swap back and forth here between these two, so I'll just make a little post there, and there we go. Okay, so I got a couple others jumping on. By the way, if you're here on watching with us right now, just asking everybody to say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. I got some really, really cool stuff today we're going to be talking about. It is Tuesday Talks, which of course means it is Tuesday. And this is Tuesday Talks Live. We usually talk about real estate, but if you have something else you want to talk about, that's fine. We try to make our conversations profitable, meaning we're not just going to get on here. I don't really care about the Super Bowl or the halftime show or anything else like that. I want to talk about things that are profitable, that help us make some money. We have Jack, Angelina, and Melody. That's the Jam team. I like that. And I think you guys are from the Portland area. I don't know that I've actually personally met you yet, but I believe, let me know if I'm mistaken, but I think you guys are in the Portland market and you are planning on being at the Thursday. So not this coming Thursday, but Thursday, the 20th. I believe you guys are planning on attending our PDX REI group meetup, if that's true. Okay, just a little bit south of Portland. You guys, let me know where you're watching from. If you're jumping on right now, just make a comment in the chats. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from. And then, watching from meaning physically. Are you in the Portland, Salem, Boise market? We're starting to get people coming and watching in from Boise, from the Washington side of things. And then, if you don't mind, maybe just comment YT for YouTube or FB for Facebook, like Jess did here. He's letting us know he's watching from Facebook. That's very helpful for us, kind of helps us know where we're getting most of our audience coming in from. So, man, there's so much stuff to talk about today, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I've just got some really, really cool stuff I want to talk about today. Particularly about the PDX REI group meetup. So if you guys are watching and you're new, you should know this. This is very important. Every single month, I host a free, I want to emphasize that word free, real estate investors group. And this is open for anybody. It's open to the public. It's in the Portland area, specifically on the Beaverton, Hillsborough side. So every single month we have that meetup, and it is a fantastic time. We always have a great turnout. One of the things that I really like, by the way, if you're watching this right now and you are a regular attendee or you've been to our meetups before, I'd love to hear from you what you think. Maybe make a comment in the chat section and just let us know what you think about the PDX REI group meetup. But every single month, excuse me, we have these on the third Thursday. That's what I want to say. First of all, it's always the third Thursday. And I emphasize that because I always have people asking, hey, well, when is the meetup? Well, it's every third Thursday. Okay. So unless there's something extremely, excuse me, I'm looking over here to the side a little bit. I've got the two different monitors, so I'm making sure I don't miss anything over here. But unless something goes really awry, or just for some reason we don't have the space available, we are always going to be meeting on the third Thursday of the month. And with that being said, we always have a great time. We actually are emphasizing. Typically, we're emphasizing the fact that it's free and that it's open and available to all, because of the fact that in the I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of our meetups. Oh, there we go. John George has been to our meetup. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. John is a regular attendee. He's from just out down the road in North Plains. He has a couple of buy and hold properties, but the reason I always emphasize the fact that they're free and they're open to everybody is because a lot of times when you go to a real estate investors meetup, what you will find is that they are oftentimes geared toward kind of people that are really in the business. They're, out there killing it and they're doing stuff. And it's, it's kind of almost intimidating when you go to these meetups. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried to create a space where pretty much anybody can come, and you're totally welcome to come regardless. Listen to this, regardless of your level of experience. And the reason why that's so important is because of the fact that if you've been to some of these real estate meetups, in particular in the Portland area, I could name a couple. Some of them are really, really great. Some of them are, not so great. I kind of like to refer to them as a bunch of old white guys sitting around complaining about tenants. That's not what our meetup is. Okay. And by the way, that's not ageist or racist or sexist. It's just the fact. A lot of times you get into real estate investor groups, you're dealing with a particular type of person that maybe has been in the business for a long time. They kind of got their properties and they already have everything pretty much figured out in life, so to speak. And a lot of the meetups tend to be kind of an opportunity just for a bunch of guys to sit around and grumble. That's not what we do. Another thing that I've noticed in a lot of the meetups in at least the ones that I've been to, and I've been to several, not just in the Portland area, but, Idaho, I've been to a lot in places like, Nashville, San Diego, Florida, Texas. I've been to meetups of all different kinds, all different places. And what I've noticed is that a lot of these meetups end up being an occasion just for everybody to get together and get hammered. And the booze is flowing, people are kind of getting a little bit loose. And next thing you know, it's kind of just a big drunk fest. Now, I'm not saying that's every real estate meetup, but I can definitely guarantee you that it's not our meetup. So I like to point that out because it is a family-friendly event. I even ask our speakers when they come to, watch their, mind their P's and Q's, so to speak, when it comes to language. I don't like to have things that are, rated R in my meetups. And sometimes, it's not like we monitor every single person. It's not like we're going to run somebody out. But the point is, it's amazing to me. And maybe you guys can, I'd love to hear some feedback from you, but it's amazing to me how unprofessional some people are when they get in a group of people, and this people start drinking, and next thing you know, some people don't even need the booze to be that way. But it's really, really crazy to me that some people can be so, I guess, loose with their lips, and they just kind of run their mouth and say things that I would be embarrassed to talk about in private, much less to say in a public setting. That's just me. Maybe I'm a little bit of a prude, but that's okay. I'm comfortable with who I am, and if that if that bothers you, then that I'm like that, then that's okay. You can get over it. But um, the point is, I think our meetups are pretty special, and we do some really cool stuff. Look, we just posted it there. So if you haven't been to a PDX REI group meetup, that's going to be the third Thursday every single month. The third Thursday. Details are there in the event. And the reason I want to talk about the meetup, by the way, it looks like the what are we calling the Jam Team? Jam Team. That's Jack, Angelina, and Melody. And by the way, I think that's it's a father-daughter real estate investors team. Is that daughter one daughter, Jack, or is that daughter two daughters? Because I think I've seen some pictures of you guys. I thought I saw two girls, so I have two girls, and my older daughter, she loves coming to my meetups. Unfortunately, she's got work now. She's not going to be able to attend this month, but just curious if that's both daughters. Yeah, okay. Jack says two daughters. Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting you guys at the meetup. And let me talk a little bit about the meetup. So meetup, by the way, if you're new to this and you've never been, basically it's just an opportunity for people of all levels of experience to come together, meet new people that are also in the real estate space. Meet people that are in your local real estate space. So you guys have heard me say this many times before. Yeah, that is collaboration beats competition. So you guys need to be meeting people in the real estate community around you so that you get to know who you can do business with. And I like the the comment here. Jack says we're raising our daughters to be like Rockefellers instead of Vanderbilts. So you guys are familiar with your American history and the Industrial Revolution, then you guys will know what he's talking about. But yeah, our meetups are open for people of all levels of experience. Now, this is what's interesting about the PDX REI group meetups. We have people that are very, very high level performers, and they're go-givers. We have people like Robert Hardin that come out every month. You got people like Dave Metzger. You got people that are definitely high-level investors. Sometimes we have some of our speakers come in. We've had Derek Sherrill come in before. We've had a lot of different folks. Bob Boren's been in with us. I'm losing his name. Bob. Sometimes he's on these things. So Bob is one of our local speakers. He's come in before. The point is we try to have people that are from the Portland market, from the Salem area, Vancouver, even like Derek coming up from Medford. Try to have people that are Oregon centric come in because we try to emphasize local and local community, get to know people, figure out who to do business with and maybe who to avoid doing business with. But it's kind of neat because we have people from literally every skill set, every skill level, every experience level that come to the meetups. And so it's a really good dynamic group. It's not a one size fits all cookie cutter thing. And then this month in particular, February, we're having a special meetup because I was able to get Pad Split. So if you guys haven't seen them before, go check out Pad Split. That's PADSPLIT, Pad Split. They are pioneering the platform user interface for the idea of co-living. So I'm going to have them talk about co-living. We're going to talk about why co-living is a really great model to be using, particularly in the state of Oregon. One of the reasons why people tend to be a little bit apprehensive about owning rental properties in the state of Oregon is because of the tenant laws. Now, some people would argue that we really need laws that favor the tenants because of the abuse of landlords and owners who kind of just raise prices indiscriminately and kick people out just because they can get somebody else to pay in. So in other words, there's a reason why tenant laws exist. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to say we should do away with that. However, if you guys know much about let's just say states that tend to be more blue in their political leanings, I'll just leave it at that. But if you guys know much about those types of politics and how it affects the tenant laws, it sometimes makes it very, very difficult for a landlord to get rid of a tenant that is not paying, or a tenant that's causing trouble. And so Pad Split has come up with, it's really not they're not the ones who came up with the idea of co-living. So co-living meaning you have multiple tenants that are all living under one shared roof. You're renting basically by the room, right? Sometimes people rent out, two people to a bedroom. You have two different beds in the same room, kind of like a college dorm room. But this would be just kind of taking an average traditional house, typically 3 or 4 bedroom. The more bedrooms, the better. And then turning it into a space that's primarily just kind of like sleeping quarters with a shared kitchen, shared bathrooms. And by doing that, by spreading out those tenants and kind of putting them everywhere you can in those spaces, it allows you to drop the price a little bit on the rent because you're getting more volume in the house, and which actually kind of checks a box for affordable housing. Everybody knows that it's really, really hard to find a cheap housing. Rent is just crazy right now, and of course the mortgages are expensive now too because of the fact that it's the interest rates are so high. So Jess says it's awesome for college students. Yes. It's actually awesome for pretty much co-living is a good model, Jess, for pretty much anybody that's living pretty much anybody that's single or living on their own. And so the reason why, call it the dorm housing, or not dorm housing, but rentals do well in college towns, is because you always have, a steady stream of prospective tenants that need housing. And so it's the same type of model with co-living. Well, what Pad Split has done is they've come up with a platform and an interface for allowing, you, by the way, I'm kind of curious if John George is on here. John, let me know, in the comments if you are available. I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but if John George is on here, maybe we could have him pop in and talk about his experience with midterm rentals and Airbnb. But the thing is with Airbnb, what they did, Airbnb isn't the one that came up with the idea of bed and breakfast. You guys know that. Now, if you're under 30 years old, you might not know that. But the idea of bed and breakfast has been around forever. Kind of a hostel type of situation that where you have, you have a property that's a shared house, and people can kind of stay, short term, come in and spend the night. Airbnb came up with a platform interface, right? Using your phone, using the internet to be able to really very easily put your property out there on the market, and then also as a tenant be able to very easily make a booking. So if you guys have ever used Airbnb, give me make a comment in the chat, say Airbnb or STR, short-term rental. I'd love to hear from you guys. Shek just jumped on. Hey, Shek, I'm curious, have you ever used an Airbnb? Have you ever done that short-term rental? You guys, if you used short-term rentals before, let me hear from you in the comments. I want to ask you a question. If you've used them before, give us an Airbnb. There's Andy. There's K Fizzle a Dizzle. I don't know who that is, but maybe let us know who you are. But I see these comments coming in. Airbnb. That's right. Tess says Airbnb. So most of us have used Airbnb. Now, here's what's interesting about it is, okay, yeah, John says he's on. Okay, cool. I might pop you on here just a second, John. So stand by. But here's the thing about Airbnb. Airbnb, it's Kai. Okay, cool. Thanks, Kai. So Airbnb is not, think about this. They don't own the property. They don't necessarily, they don't set the thing up. They don't really handle, the details of the property. What they do is they make it easy for a property owner and a property renter to connect, and everything is done legally. So when you guys have used Airbnb, you've basically agreed to you made a contractual agreement with the owner. So if you've been as a renter, you've used you've used someone else's property with all kinds of agreements and relational type of stipulations, in order to use that space, right? And those of you that have ever been a host, you understand how important that is, because you don't want to have somebody in your house that is, or in your property that is, that doesn't have some kind of legal, you know, stipulation, so that if something happens, there's some kind of a safeguard in place. Well, PadSplit has come up with the all of the super easy to use interfaces. Now, when you go to, I can book an Airbnb on here on my phone and have a place booked in Dallas, Texas. Like, for instance, we got the Squat Up Summit. How many of you are going to Squat Up Summit? Let me hear you in the chat. Squat Up Summit. If you guys are going, just kind of curious to see if anybody's actually going. But like Squat Up Summit, Pace Morby's and Jamil Damji's collaborative kind of squat up thing they do. Started it last year in Orlando. It was awesome. They had Cody Sanchez speak, Grant Cardone spoke, a lot of people from the Sub 2 community, Astro Flipping community. The thing about the Squat Up Summit is it's in Dallas this year. I could go and book a place in Dallas in just a matter of minutes, right? Without signing a bunch of documents and talking about all kinds of stuff, without ever even meeting the owner. PadSplit has done the same exact thing for people who are wanting to do co-living. So that's what I was trying to say. Sometimes I talk, a lot to get to a point, but the point is, PadSplit is not the one who came up with the concept of co-living. PadSplit is the one who made it super easy. So if you are a buy and hold property owner, particularly in a state where, the laws tend to be favorable toward people that have long-term rental agreements. Well, PadSplit does stuff on a month-to-month basis, and it's all done legally, and it's all done through the user interface for a small fee. And I always say this: listen, if you're so stingy that you don't want to pay Airbnb, whatever their fee is, I think the last time I checked, it was under 3%. But I thought about this when I first got because at one time I had 5 or 6 properties on Airbnb, and by the way, guys, I made great money doing short-term rentals. In fact, I did short-term STR Airbnb arbitrage, where I basically rented out someone else's property as the tenant, and then I turned it into a short-term or corporate rental type of property. Obviously, with their awareness, I told them what I was doing. But here's the point: when I looked at that, I thought, man, 3%, or I can't remember what the fee was. If somebody knows, let us know. But I thought to myself, that's a lot of money. And then I thought, hold on a minute, John, let's look at that. Okay. If I don't use Airbnb, then what do I have to do? I have to market the property. I can have a perfect ideal property and no customers if I don't do marketing, right? So effectively what Airbnb has done is they've made, individual property owners, it's been made it super, super easy for them to get on and have their property marketed. Literally, with just a couple of clicks, you can have your property available and marketed to the entire world. You're basically leveraging the power of Airbnb's marketing to get your product out there to the world, which to me, that's a very, very fair trade, right? PadSplit's doing the same thing with co-living. So I'm talking about PadSplit because they're going to be in Portland. They're going to be coming to our meetup. So guys, they're not going anywhere else. They're coming exclusively to our meetup. And that's going to be the third Thursday this month. That's going to be in Portland and in Beaverton, Hillsboro area. And I definitely want you guys to be there. Even if you don't own properties, you need to know about this model because it is going to be the future. And I really believe that. I mean it. I think it's going to be the future. Existing landlords are going to see it as a great way to improve the revenue on their properties and also safeguard from the type of tenant issues they've been having. And it's also on the tenant side, it's making housing affordable again in markets that it's just been priced out of reach for a lot of people. So that's what's going on with the meetup coming up. So if you guys are going to the meetup, let me see you in the chat. Make sure you go. John, I'm going to see if I can bring you on for just a minute. I might. You guys bear with me for just a second. I'm going to see if I can invite John George, and I am going to send him an invite real quickly. So you guys bear with me. John, you know what? Let's see here. I'm going to take that back. I've actually got, he says, I'm both Airbnb and Furnish Finder John says, I'm both Airbnb. Maybe we can just do it this way, John. Furnished finder, but actually prefer Airbnb even with the fee due to, here it is, ease of use on the insurance that's included. So you actually get insurance policy coverage through Airbnb. It's very, very similar to PadSplit. They have a great insurance program. So we're going to hear from PadSplit. And let me kind of just take a little side note. Say this: if you guys are signed up for the proximity event, so if you are signed up for proximity, let me see you in the chat. Who here is for sure attending? You've already signed up, you've already paid, you're attending the proximity event. I just want to hear from you guys. If you are, just comment proximity or say I'm going, or I'm going to be there, proximity event. I've got some really cool stuff. So Tess, she's signed up for proximity. I know she's coming from Boise. Which, by the way, Tess, we should get together next week, Monday or Tuesday. John George says proximity. Andy's going proximity. So if you guys are signed up for the proximity event, you're going to get special access to the PadSplit team. So they're going to be coming in and speaking to our group. Let's see here. Jack says we don't know what it is yet. Okay, so the proximity event is going to be February 20th and 21st. Those are the dates for it. It's a 2-day event. We're going to really pack in a lot of special information, special access. And Jack, just so you guys know, the idea it came off of a post that I made. It's been a couple months ago now, but 5 years ago this month, so 5 years ago, February, I was kind of a bumbling contractor who had done a flip accidentally. I've told my story before about doing an accidental flip. And I really didn't have any clarity or direction on where I was going in my business. And I saw this podcast where this guy got on and talked about how he had gone from construction to full-time real estate. And I was like, well, that's what I want to do. That's kind of what I was doing. So the guy gave out his phone number on the internet live on the podcast. And so I texted him. It was Pace Morby. And that was back 5 years. Guys, believe it or not, 5 years ago, even this month, 5 years ago, February, most people had no idea who Pace Morby was. He did not have a sub 2. He did not have Gator. He did not have top tier TC. He did not have any of the coaching. He didn't have the channels. He didn't have the TV show. He was just a contractor who had switched over to flipping and wholesaling. And he had kind of started really, really getting a lot of momentum and traction with this particular creative model of purchasing property subject to the existing mortgage. And so he was starting to get locally known in the Phoenix market as the guy who does sub 2 stuff. And Steve Trang had him on his podcast, and Steve Trang basically, put Pace out there on the map, and then Pace put out his phone number. So here's what happened is I'm sitting in my office over at Intel in Aloha. I was working at the Aloha campus at the time. And I'm like, man, that guy's message really resonated with me. So I texted him and said, hey, I just saw you on Steve Trang's podcast. I'd like to get to know you. He said, hey, come on down and hang out with me. So long story short, I jumped on an airplane. About a week later, I flew down to Phoenix. I hung out with Pace Morby for 2.5 days. I was their little storefront office. Back then, they had like a little rented space that was kind of. It was actually super hokey. It had like 3 or 4 offices, some kind of junky old desks, and a big whiteboard in the hallway. That's the only place where they could actually get. So we would all kind of be standing there with our backs against the wall, and Pace was there, and then Cody Barton would come in. And so very, very small team. I think there's about 4 or 5 people working with him at the time. But here's what it did. Being in that space with Pace Morby at that time, even in his real estate journey, though he wasn't who he is today, he was farther ahead than where I was at the time, if that makes sense. And so being in proximity to Pace Morby was what really, really helped me kind of get the clarity and to see the vision. And listen, I didn't get any specific training from him at the time. There was no sub 2 course to take. I signed up for that as soon as it came out a couple of months later, but didn't have a sub 2 course. He didn't have anything specifically that he really went over and focused on. It was just literally being in the room with him. So I have been thinking about it, and I had been, because I was like, how can I get the people in the PDX REI group? How can I get the folks in the TV REI group here in the Boise market? How can I really start helping people like take that next step and really get some momentum in their business? And I thought, well, what was the difference maker for me? And it was being in proximity to the people that were doing what I wanted to do. So I said, well, I'm going to just throw this out there and see if there's any interest in it. So I said, hey, if I did a 2-day event in Portland, and we just talked about stuff, kind of get in the room closer, not just our meetup where we're going to have 60 to 100 people there. By the way, guys, if you're not registered as going on the PDX REI group event page, you need to get on there and click going. Actually, I'm just going to check it real quick. Let's see. We've already got 78 people who have responded. Now, I don't know how many, though. We got 55 people that are going, 23 that are interested. This is going to be standing room only for the PDX REI group meetup. And so, guys, if you haven't gone on to the PDX REI group page, and you've got to go under featured where you'll see some of the different posts made about the meetup, you've got to get on there and click going. And the reason I say you got to click going, because if you don't click going, then you won't be able to get in the room. Okay. We're only taking people that have actually registered as going on the event page. So, but beside that, to get back to your question, Jack says he doesn't know what the proximity event is. By the way, Sheck says I'm going to proximity event. Okay. So, if you haven't been to our meetups, it might be kind of hard to compare, but here's the problem. When you go to a meetup, there's a ton of stuff going on. There's a lot of people there. They're awesome, but you don't really get to sit down and ask, kind of the intimate questions. Like, so what we're doing with John George, what we're doing with Tess, what we're doing with Andy, what we're doing with Sheck is we're taking each of their business objectives and goals, and we're saying, okay, here's the next steps for you. So by being in proximity, we're limiting this to about 15 people max, and I believe we've already got I think we have 12 right now. So I got to check that, but I think we've got 12 signed up right now. Going to do 15, 16 max, because I want to keep it super small where we can actually talk and really like get some conversational type of stuff going. We're going to have some breakout sessions. I've got some amazing speakers that are going to come. We're going to do some, 90-minute sessions. Guys, don't tell anybody, okay? Don't tell anybody, but Friday's speaker is, I shouldn't say, okay? I just got confirmation literally about 20 minutes before today's Tuesday Talks. I got confirmation on who Friday's speaker is going to be. And let's just say it's somebody who you're going to be very familiar with. And if you're at the proximity event, you're going to be very, very glad that you signed up, because it's going to be awesome. I got to have him coming in speaking for 90 minutes just to the proximity group. And let's just say it's somebody that once you find out who it is and you're not there, you're going to be really, really sorry that you're not. So the reason I'm kind of being a little bit hush hush about it is because if I say the name right now, number one, it's going to put a mad rush on things, and I don't want to overhype it, but it's definitely somebody you're going to want to be in the room with. So proximity is the idea of like, hey, just getting in the room, super condensed, kind of intimate setting. I've got 2 speakers coming in on Thursday. Besides myself, I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff, but I've got a speaker coming in that's going to be talking specifically about mindset stuff and how to really get. So Kai says it's Jesus, isn't it? No, but Jesus is there where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name. So he's already going to be there in our midst. But who I've got coming on Friday, nowhere close to Jesus, but definitely somebody who you're going to wish that you were there with him. So Caitlin, that was, I don't think that was blasphemous. But so here's the thing. So, by the way, so Jack says we're interested in looking at the PDX REI. So we don't actually have a link for proximity event in the PDX REI group. If you want that, because it's not something we've really been blasting all over the place, Jack, if you want that, shoot me a DM, and I will get you the link for that. But I do know this seating is extremely limited. Kai says all good spirits. Yes, I know you, Kai, so I knew you weren't meaning anything bad by that. But yes, like Sheck says, Jesus is always with me. Amen. So, no, it's going to be really good, guys. And this is the first time that I've done anything like this. And so, because of the fact that I'm a little bit apprehensive because I've never done it, I have just gone like extremely overboard. We're going to feed you guys. We're going to go look at one of my projects. We're going to do a walkthrough on it. I'm going to have speakers come in talking specifically about mindset. I've got a guy coming in that has scaled his social media to over his wife's social media over 22,000 followers. They're living exclusively off of the money she makes, just his wife makes from social media stuff. You're going to be amazed at how powerful social media is. In fact, you guys are here right now because of social media. So you guys know about me most likely because of social media. We're going to talk about that, but more specifically, we're going to talk about your specific business. And my plan is, which by the way, if some of you are going to proximity and you haven't actually done this yet, you really need to do your homework. For everybody that's already signed up, you got homework. And if you don't have your homework done before we begin, then you're going to miss out. You're going to have paid money for something you're not going to get access to, because we're going to be having you guys leave with a very specific next steps for like a 6-week next steps, knowing exactly what to do as you guys leave the event. So proximity, anybody that's coming to that is going to get exclusive access, not only to the pad split team, but also to the speaker I have coming in Friday that you're not going to want to miss. So, and then of course I'll be there too. So, I mean, for what it's worth, I'm going to be there. I'm not necessarily a big star, but I've got a little bit of experience under my belt, enough to where I can, definitely help you guys. And some of you I have helped, and I love doing it. So, what did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about the PDX REI group meetup. I wanted to talk about the proximity event that is coming up. And by the way, it does overlap the PDX REI group. So we're starting out Thursday morning, the 20th, with the proximity event. If you're there, we're going to start at 10 a.m. and we're going to knock off at 4. And then from 4 to about 6 o'clock, you're going to have a 2-hour break, get a little nap, and then we're reconvening for our normal, open to the public PDX REI group meetup. And then the next morning we're starting again. I'm trying to start the next morning at 9:30, which, by the way, if you're in the proximity event, I've got an agenda I'm working on. I had to get the finalization for the speaker today. I'm putting all that together. You guys will have it in the proximity group Facebook page and chat soon. I wanted to talk about this lastly. How many of you raised your hand and you said that you guys were, did you get that early bird thing from Josh Hayes? I know Josh Hayes made a couple of posts, and the posts were kind of related to the some of the stuff that we're doing for. Let me back up and just say this for a minute. By the way, you guys all still there? Give me a thumbs up. Somebody give me a heart in the chat, wherever you're watching from. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, go ahead and take a second right now, subscribe. But give me a thumbs up or a heart or something so I know you're still with me. Give me a comment, say, hey, we're still here, because it feels like everybody just kind of dropped off there for a second. Give me a chance to get a drink. I've also got this really, really good sourdough roll here. My wife makes the sourdough bread. So I've got a sourdough roll with butter on it just sitting here calling my name. So as soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to jump on that. Okay, you guys are still here. If you haven't given us a thumbs up or a heart or a like or whatever, subscribe, please do that right now, because it helps me know that you guys are still here. Okay, good. Tess, you're still here. Andy's here. Caitlin, cool. Appreciate you guys. Okay, so here's one of the things that, as I was looking at the end of last year, I was like looking at our group and I was going, okay, we've got all these people. We've got people that are, showing up to the meetups. But what I noticed at the meetups was that we were kind of getting with our repeat customers. In other words, the people that kept coming regularly, I was kind of hearing the same exact story, like, right, still looking to get my first deal, still trying to get into this, trying to figure this all out. And I was like, man, what can I do to help people get over that hump and actually get their first deal, or, unlock what's going on and move to the next thing. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do the proximity event. On the other side of it, I was like, what can we do to make our group better? How can I make the PDX REI group? How can I make the Treasure Valley Real Estate Investors group? How can I make these groups better? How can we add more value? And we came up with several different, I kind of did a little bit of a think tank session with myself and a couple other people. Came up with a couple of different things that are going to be still going to be completely free, but we're doing the free part only for those who sign up initially. So um, I saw John, I think John says he got it. So there was a link that was sent out. By the way, guys, if you did not get a link last night, so it would have been last night or early this morning, if you did not get a link for the early participants, early access to the school community that we just said is the Cash Creators Club. If you guys did not get a link to that, please make sure that you post a comment here in the chat so we know that you're there and that you're looking for it, because most of you, a lot of people, I think I'm recognizing the names, a lot of you actually did sign up, or at least you raised your hand and you got the early access. But if you did not get early access, it's right now, it's still free. That's for the school community. We're going to be doing a bunch of really cool stuff this year. We're starting to roll it out right now, where we're going to get access to the school community, which I'd like to hear from you guys. If you guys know, why would we start another community in a different format? So why would we go to school? Okay, so Jack says we did not get early access. Okay, Jack, I see your comment here. I'm going to make sure that the team goes back and gets that to you guys. By the way, you'll all three need to sign up. So you and your daughters will need to sign up with a free school account. Okay, so that's totally free, but you'll need to have that school. That's SKOOL. I'm going to type it here so you guys have it. It's I got my fingers up in the screen. School. Okay, go to the school website and get signed up with an account, because you're going to, Tess said, did that go to our email? I don't think I think it was in Messenger. So you got to check out the Messenger is where myself, you should have got a message from either me or from Daniel Bonilla or from Josh Hayes. Okay. So yeah, John George says it came through Messenger. Tess, if you did not get that, then I will make sure it gets posted. I think, Tess, I think you're in the Proximity Facebook community. So we'll for sure make sure you have access to that. That's one of the perks of signing up for Proximity. But what we're doing is we're rolling out a bunch of new different ideas and different things. We're going to start doing some monthly challenges where we actually help you guys actually get, we're real time. We're going to meet once a day, 5 days a week. So we will look. Do we need an account? Yes. You should, each one of you, get an account. And the reason you should do that is because every one of you guys is going to need your own access whenever you go to log in on the app. And if you don't log in on your own access point, your own app, with your own account rather, then some of the stuff can get a little bit confusing. So sign up, each one of you, get the school. It looked like, Andy says, I got a text, it looked like a spam message. Well, it should have been either from myself or Daniel or Josh, which Daniel and Josh are both part of my team. So Andy, go back and take a look at that again. But there's a link in those messages to the school community. And in the school community, the reason why we're doing it in school is, someone maybe just give me an idea. Why would we want to do something in school instead of in Facebook? And the key word is in the last word of that sentence I just said. I'm just curious if you guys have experienced this at all. It's kind of crazy being on this side of things where you're trying to put together, trying to build out a community. And you guys probably don't realize this, but Facebook is notorious for throttling down communication and for blocking all. It's right. Caitlin nailed it. Facebook is unreliable. Okay. So we're obviously using Facebook right now. I don't have anything against Facebook, but it is not the best place to build out a community. And so the reason why we're launching this in school is because school is a platform that allows community growth. It allows a lot better communication. There's a couple of things. I was actually talking to Josh about it a little bit. With community, you actually with school, you actually get rewarded for your engagement. So some of you guys are here regulars. You're involved. You're making comments. John George is one that comes to mind. Tess is in here a lot. Caitlin is in here a lot. Andy. So those of you that are actually active in, the chats, active on the lives, you're participating, you're making comments, you actually get rewarded for that in school. So you actually earn points, you get special access to privileges to different things. And that Facebook does this. It's really, really frustrating. Facebook actually limits people's posts, and it also limits like how many messages you can send. And if our Facebook community gets flagged for whatever reason, right? Which as far as I know we haven't, but sometimes our reach is really limited in Facebook because we can't actually get there's certain things, like for instance, Facebook is very, very strict about limiting things that pertain to housing or real estate or lending. If you guys knew that or not, raise your hand or say yes, we knew that. Facebook is extremely vigilant about making sure that they don't participate in any violations of housing, Fair Housing Act, right? So what happens is sometimes we're in here talking about real estate and we're chatting about things, and Facebook actually our account can get flagged by the robots and by all the different algorithms. So PDXRI group can actually get flagged. Some of our conversations and comments can get flagged as something that violates the Fair Housing Act, which of course it doesn't, but because of the algorithms, it really limits things. So we're not getting away from Facebook, don't get me wrong, but as far as the community build out that we're doing, and this year in particular, the challenges, the access to information, we're going to have special training videos in there. It's all going to be free for the people that sign up early, for that, and for the people that participate. That's the other key thing, because like I said, you get rewarded for participation. So we're kind of shifting everything over to school right now, and we're going to be doing special trainings in there. We're going to be posting videos in there. Yes, absolutely, Jack. Censoring is a big problem with Facebook, and I know that Mark Zuckerberg came out recently and was like, "Oh yeah, as soon as Trump got elected or whatever, he's like, oh yeah, we're going to change everything. It's too long. It's been Well, maybe he had a big change of heart, or maybe that's just, he sensed, some people go, which way is the wind blowing? And that's the direction that they're going. Okay. I don't operate that way. I say what I mean what I say. But if you guys want to be a part of that community, which I think you're going to want to, make sure you open up that comment and make sure you click on the link and get the school account set up, because the early subscribers, the early people that join the group are getting free access to a whole bunch of cool stuff. So as we build stuff out this year, as we try to encourage participation, we try to get you guys into your first deal. How many of you are still looking for your first deal? If you've never done a deal before, whether it's lending, whether it's flipping, wholesaling, make a comment. First deal. Just put first deal in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Jess says, I am. Absolutely, Jess. You and I have talked about this. We're gonna try to find something. Already I'm working on some stuff. Tess is looking for her first deal. We really want to help you guys get your first deal, and I really, really believe that we can do it. I believe we have the right kind of community, we have the right kind of mentality, we have the right kind of culture. A lot of that came from my mentors. If you guys didn't know it, I'm a part of mastermind level mentor of Sub 2, obviously Pace Morby, Jamil Damji, Josiah Grimes, Brent Daniels, Nate Armstrong, and others. I could go on, but I'm in multiple different groups. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring all the value from those different groups and communities and bring it in condensed format. So okay, these are the things that you guys should be focusing on right now. So Sheck says, I'm trying. I know you are, Sheck. We talked about that Sub 2 deal you were looking to make an offer on, and sounds like they're behind on their mortgage, and so maybe a little bit of a different dynamic now that you know that it's a divorce as well. I saw your last message, and I agree with you. Just put them on a follow-up, conversation here in a couple weeks. Jonathan Hardina says, I'm completing my first deal right now. Hey, awesome, man. First flip. Jonathan, where is that? I'd love to hear from you. Where is that flip? Or it's right here in the Portland market, or is it somewhere else? Let's see here. A couple comments coming in. Jack says we're negotiating on an RV park in Portland. That's awesome. That's awesome, you guys. Good for you. I'm curious if that's something. Are you guys negotiating to make a purchase, or you're helping negotiate on the side, on the lending side? Because I know you guys are doing Gator stuff. So Sheck says, "Nice work, Jonathan." That's right, Vancouver. Awesome. Took possession yesterday. So, Jonathan, I'm assuming you have a crew lined up, or you're going to be doing a lot of the work yourself. Either way, dude, that is awesome. I would really encourage you to do this, Jonathan. If you could, please do us all a huge favor, okay? You see my hands, I'm pleading with you, right? Please, please, please post about, kind of use the PDX REI group as a place to more or less keep a log of your first flip, okay? So you told us it was your first flip. I would love to have you make a post every day, at the minimum every week, of what you did, and maybe start off with, hey guys, we just took possession on our first flip in Vancouver yesterday. Here's some basic details. Here's how we found the lead. Jonathan, you have no idea how helpful that would be for other people, and I really appreciate you doing that, man. Take pictures. You think about the PDX REI group as a place to have your personal diary of your progress, right? Because you're going to be able to go back and look and see that. And also, if you have not yet, Jonathan, if you have not yet joined the school community, make sure you DM me or make a post in here that you need the link. We'll get you into the school community. You can do the same thing there. So that is so awesome, man. I remember my first flip. What's crazy about it is, some of you guys have heard the story, is I did my first flip on accident. I bought it to live in it, and then we ended up selling it before we ever moved in. Kind of a long story. It was amazing, but that's what put me on this path toward real estate investing. That was in 2015. So, guys, it's been 10 years now I've been doing this, particularly in the Portland market. I have flipped at least 100 properties in Portland. I've flipped properties in California, in Florida, in Texas, in Tennessee, and Idaho, all remotely. Done stuff. I've done several flips in Vancouver market, Battleground, Seattle area. So I have a lot of experience, particularly in the Northwest, and I've also done a lot of flips remotely. I've wholesaled, probably several hundred deals. I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying there's nothing like my first flip. I will never forget that. So first flip is awesome. See here, Jonathan is doing his first flip in Vancouver. He's going to keep us up to date. Jack, you guys are doing your first deal, purchase direct with owner. That's huge. You don't have a broker to be dealing with. That is awesome, man. So if you could, maybe let us know how you came across the deal. If you feel comfortable sharing that. If you don't, that's fine. But I've learned this: the people that end up accelerating their growth and really expanding their knowledge and their network are the people who will share the value and the knowledge that they're acquiring. So share it in real time. You guys don't feel like you have to be an expert to contribute, okay? So, yeah, Sheck says, nice work, Jonathan. Love it. Congratulations from Tess. And Sheck also says, you've already paid me back my value for the proximity meetup. Sheck, you have no idea. When we get to the proximity event, February 20th to 21st, I'm going to blow your socks off in the first 3 hours, I promise. Because my thing is, like, if I can't pack a ton of value into the first half of the day, then I feel like I failed. So I'm going to overwhelm you guys with awesomeness if you're coming to the proximity event. You guys are going to love it. So, okay, that's it. Make sure you get into the school community. Let us know, raise your hand, so to speak, wave at us. Let us know either in this chat or go into the PDX REI group, or you can just DM me directly. We'll make sure you get any of the links you need. So if you want a link to the free event, the PDX REI group, that's pretty easy to find. If you need a link to the guy says, see you later. Yep, we'll see you. If you want a link to the proximity event and the information there, we can get that to you. Or if you just need a link to get to the school community, we'll get that to you. But I look forward to seeing you guys. I'll see you next week on Tuesday Talks. And then a couple days later, I'm going to be in Portland with you for the PDX REI group meetup proximity event, and we'll see you there. All right. God bless you guys. Take care.